Okay, and welcome back, students who are taking Math for Business and Finance and Math Applications. And we're working on the drill problems, and I am working on the optional drill problems. We're going to do 3 and hopefully 4 in this video. Both of them are calculating standard deviation, so this is just good practice for it, okay? And if you don't, as I said in the last video, it is a step-by-step process. Follow the process. There's not much difficult about this. I mean, it's just adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. But you have to go through the step-by-step process, and you see that in your illustration in the chapter in the textbook. And you saw me work through the data sets A and B in the theory video. So, the last video had the theory videos had a full calculation. The last video for problem number 2, option problem number 2, had a full explanation, and I'm going to do the same thing for 3 and 4 here. Okay, so if you're not understanding something, watch them again and again, and if you still don't understand the concept, speak with an instructor. Okay, it's not something you're going to be able to do via email. All right, you're going to have to speak with an instructor. So let's get with it here. All right, so it says calculate the standard deviation, round the final answer to the nearest tenth. All right, so for our standard deviation, we're going to add up all of these numbers, okay? And I did this earlier, so when I add up everything here, because remember this is our data, and I'm going to be working in 2 columns here, all right, instead of 1 big column, because obviously it just doesn't fit on the slide. So, and I added did this math earlier before I actually went into this video, just because I wanted to know what the mean was. All right, so when I added up all of these totals, all of these data points, I ended up with 119 for a total of everything here. Okay, and there's 14 data points here, so I take 119 and divide that by 14, and I end up with 8.5 as my mean. Okay, so my mean is nothing more than an average of all of that data. Okay, now we take the data minus the mean to get the deviation. Okay, so and I'm just going to do, I can rewrite this. I could go 7 minus 8.5 is a minus 1.5. Okay, I can write all of that out, but I'm not going to, right? Just because of limitations. So I am going to speak and let you know what's going in my head, but I'm only going to write the important information here, right? So 7 minus 8.5 is a minus 1.5. 3 minus 8.5 is a minus 5.5. 12 minus 8.5 is 3.5. 17 minus 8.5 is 8.5. 5 minus 8.5 is a minus 3.5. 8 minus 8.5 is a minus 0.5. 9 minus 8.5 is 0.5. 9 minus 8.5 is 0.5 again. 13 minus 8.5 is 4.5. 15 minus 8.5 is 6.5. 6 minus 8.5 is a minus 1.5. I'm sorry, 2.5. 6 minus, same thing again, 2.5. 4 minus 8.5 is minus 4.5. And 5 minus 8.5 is minus 3.5. Right, so that's our data minus our mean. Right, that gives us our deviation. Okay, that's our deviation from the mean. Now we have to square all of those points. So I take my data minus my mean, and that's squared. Okay, so I have to square all of those numbers. Right, Now remember, a minus times a minus is a plus, so I just take 1.5 times 1.5, and that gives me 2.25. 5.5 times 5.5 is 30.25. 3.5 times 3.5 is 1225. 8.5 times 8.5 is 7225. Okay, the 3.5 again is 12.25. 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25, so that's 0.25, and that's, let me just, right, and that's 0.25. Right, 4.5, let me just draw this here to keep things in a little bit more understandable format. Okay, so 4.5 minus 4.5, I'm sorry, 4.5 times 4.5 is 20.25. 6.5 times 6.5 is 42.25. 2.5 times 2.5 is 6 1/4, and that's 6 1/4. And 4.5 is another 20.25, and 3.5 is another 12.25. Okay. All right, so now that I've squared all of those deviations, I have to add them all up. Okay, so now when I add them all up, I come up with a total of 237.50. Okay, so I'm adding this column and I'm adding this column all together. So this plus this gives me that. Okay, so I have my 237.50, and I'm going to divide that by n minus 1. So what is n? Well, n is the number of data points, and the number of data points happens to be 14. All right, there's 14 numbers here. Okay, so 14 minus 1 is 13. So I take my 237.50 and I'm dividing it by 13. Okay, and that gives me, let's see here, 18.26923.077. All right, and just as an FYI, when you're doing this, don't shortcut. Okay, don't round down. Don't say, okay, 18.27 because I don't want to write out, or I don't want to use all of the rest of those numbers. You're going to get the problem wrong. Use whatever is in the calculator memory when you're doing this, because now that I'm going to take the square root of 18.26923.077, if I, that's going to give me a standard deviation of, let's see here, 4.3. Okay, if I shortcut and I take the standard deviation of 18.27 and let's round it, I'm going to come up with a different answer. I'm going to end up with 4.27. Okay, so make sure that you don't round and you don't sense adjust. All right, use whatever is still in your calculator memory in order to be able to calculate the entire problem, okay, to get the square root of it. So the standard deviation for that set of data is now 4.3 standard deviations. And that took me a full 10 minutes to do. So I'm going to stop here and then do the last optional problem 4 in the next video.